Hello and welcome to the Blossoming Unity podcast. My name is Dennis and this is Nicole, and we are here to introduce you into the conversation about different spiritual perceptions, techniques, and methodologies in order for you to fully embrace and discover and experience who you truly are in your day-to-day life. Hello and welcome, everybody. Hey, Nicole.
Hi, Dennis. How are you?
I'm doing really fantastic.
I love that. Mercury retrograde is over. We're
Yes.
on a weekly. All is good.
Yes, things are just flowing. Things are just flowing. How is everything for you?
Very interesting, actually. I feel that people, I have a lot of new clients from all over the place. And interesting enough, all my clients like tell their friends that they should do it now as well. It's the
Mm,
time now. There's
that's amazing, right?
it's the best. It's like I really love that about my work, like when you are able to really change someone's life to a certain to a state so that this person really would recommend you to their friends. That's like I think
Yes.
that's the biggest compliment you can get as a healer and as a trauma therapist or a therapist or
I totally agree 100%. Absolutely. For one of the biggest things that I recognized was the transformation that they undergo, right? It's being able to work with the client week in and week out, seeing where they start, right? They're coming to you, they're only coming on a wing and a hope, you know? They're like, help basically, and then you start breaking
pretty
down
much.
everything layer but right, exactly. They're in that surrender state. They're like, can you help me? Like, I don't know what's going, how can I help myself? That's the most beautiful when they come to you and they're like, how can I help myself? Because I don't know. I don't know. So when they're in that I don't know state, it's like that openness state of being, okay, let's start working through whatever it is that you're going through. And
Mm.
then, week in and week out, and then seeing months down the road, seeing the transformation, like they're just lighting up now. They've been touched by grace, almost, if you would say that. That is the one of the most rewarding things for sure.
It's really interesting. I was last time someone was asking me like, what are you doing? Like, what is your job? And I was like, well, I work as a trauma therapist, but what I actually do is I help people change their timelines.
Mm.
Because when you work on your trauma and when you work on your resonances, speaking of depression, anxiety, panic, I have many clients PTSD, and when you start to work on the resonances, what that means is that your vibrational field starts to change, so you change the timeline of your life. And so, like, I had a client, she was with me, her husband uh killed himself. He made suicide. Would you say it like that? He
Committed suicide.
committed suicide. And she came to me 2.5 months ago. And she last week she wrote me. She was like, I'm now here in my new life, in my new apartment, and it almost feels like I lost my identity. And
Mm.
it almost feels like uh, uh, back in the days I used to listen only to hip hop and to, like, I had like such emotional roller coasters, and but now I'm stable and I do my yoga in the morning and I feel so good and there's no drama anymore. And like, but and I said, yeah, that's when you really change timelines, when you alter your vibration so you don't have this drama all the time, and it's also not necessary anymore. So I think this is really interesting. Like, yeah, I'm like a timeline facilitator. I should like change my bio from trauma therapist to change your fucking timeline. Nobody would understand that.
Yeah. No, some would
Yeah,
understand that.
somewhat. That's true,
Some
but
would.
probably not the
Some
right
would.
people.
When I sit back and like kind of look at, what it is that I do. So I remember when, I went through that crazy dark night. I've always spoken about this many times on the podcast. And I just like threw my hands up. I was like, I'm done. I'm done.
I'm not doing
What do
this
you want to
anymore.
what do you want to birth through me? Just do it. I'm done. I feel like I'm giving birth and I don't know what I'm giving birth to. I don't really know. I'm in this deep pain and deep disconnect. And then all of a sudden everything switches, and then, start doing TikTok videos and start creating, different things. And all this. And it was like, I don't know what it's hard for me to sit back and go, okay, well, this is the label that, I'm going to rock. I'm going to rock with this label, and this is what it is. I remember when I first started, working with people, they'd be like, oh, you're a spiritual teacher. Thank you. And I'm like, you're my guru. I'm like, I'm not any of that. Don't put that on me. And there was a lot of resistance towards it, because it was like, no, I'm no label. Don't label me. But there's this understanding as well, when you really get with it, is you're not responsible for the labels that other people put on you. Now, you're responsible for the labels you put on yourself. Now, I can sit here and say, oh, yeah, I do spiritual work. Yeah, spiritual teacher. Okay. But that's not my identity, right? That's something that I do. It's something that is easily understood, I guess, to a particular group of people that want to understand certain things. But there's always this level of, and I spoke with a lot of clients recently, and they're like, well, I have multiple identities. It was like, that's not a problem. The problem isn't the identities. Okay. The problem is when you're too attached to it. It's like when you put a mask on. Have you ever seen the movie The Mask with Jim Carrey? And he's trying to take the mask off and he just can't. That's ultimately what the problem is. Throughout your day-to-day life and throughout society, you're going to have to put different masks on. If you're going to work in a corporation, you're going to have to put on your corporation mask. If you're going to a funeral, you're going to have to put on your funeral mask. And there's nothing wrong with these masks that we use. The problem is you're too attached to them, because it's supposed to be fluid. And that's where those real pains start coming from, is what I noticed when we're talking about the conceptual understanding of what's happening with these masks. But I always had that resistance with the labels. It was always a big thing. And then finally one day I was just like, this resistance that I'm feeling towards these labels that people are saying is the very thing that I need to be recognizing and looking within myself. And why is there damn resistance about it? Like, I'm not responsible for the label you put on me, but why am I being resistant towards it? You know what? Just whatever it is, it is, and I will just flow with whatever it is. So still to this day, the very first point is, I don't know what to say. I don't know to be, I do this, I do that. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. I find it difficult as well, especially when you're a creator. Not
Mm,
only, like there's certain people that really are just hypnotherapists. That's
mm.
their only purpose,
Right, right.
wise, like work wise,
Yeah, yeah,
or
yeah.
or you are just doing, I don't know, past life regressions, and this is your thing, like you have a in-depth thing. But for people like us, which are also like creators outside of the healing, which
Mm,
I create art, I have other products, I always struggle to like I'm a yoga teacher as well, like, and I always struggled, like, because people love some like little shelves and places where they can put you, like, oh, this person is that, oh, this person is that, and
mm.
and uh, the more and more you create, the more you cannot be in one of those shelves. You
Right.
don't fit. So the only option you have is to vibrate your truth, to just be you, and to shine
Absolutely.
your light in your way, and then trust that whoever needs to find what you produce will find you.
Mm-hmm.
And
Absolutely.
especially, like, I find that especially difficult with art, or difficult, I find it especially interesting with art. I create these mantra art pieces, and it's so fascinating to me that that people really buy them. Because when I create them, I never create them because I think, oh, this is the piece that will be sold and yada yada yada. Never. When I
Right.
create them, I create them out of necessity because they want to be created.
Absolutely.
And so,
And that is the purest form of creation.
yeah, I think so too. At the moment,
Yes.
I'm knitting mantra meditation shawls. I'm chanting
Uh-oh.
mantra and I'm hand knitting shawls. Like,
When are those going to start going on the shelf?
yeah, I know, it's so bad. It's like, oh God, now you're in the knitting scene. I mean, how bad can it get?
Oh, the rabbit hole is endless. There was this thing, and I remember growing up, I was always dabbling in so many different things,
Mhm.
whether it was a particular job I was doing. I would do this job and then I would do that kind of job and then I would do this job. It was like this level of I pick something up, I get really, 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 really good at it, and then I walk away from it. It was big thing where
ADHD
anything.
brain.
Seriously, it was like, I was really into dancing. I loved it. I became a very, very, very good dancer. The rhythm, and I had no rhythm at all when I was really little.
Oh,
No rhythm whatsoever. There was not a rhythmic bone in my body, but I got really good at it. I became so passionate about it, became really, really good at dancing. And then I was like, yeah, I'm done. Became very, 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 very passionate about American football. Got really, really, really good at it. I stopped doing that. Became very, very, very passionate about um,
music.
competitive swimming. Got really, really, really good, then stopped.
I had
Uh,
gold medals in competitive swimming.
oh, that was like I loved it to a different level, but the
How
competitiveness,
did
I
it
still love
go?
swimming. Yeah,
But
the
it's
competitiveness, I had
gone.
to stop.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, just completely disappeared. And then music as well. There's always this place for music. It's always there, but it's not like how it was before as well. Became very wordsmithy, creating rhymes and all these different things, poetry and all this. And then I was just moving on to the next. So there's this constant um, picking up and putting down almost. And I think with any work that I do, um, there always has to be whatever lights me up, I'm going to do. And I always wondered about that. I don't know if anyone's ever into human design or anything of that nature, but I did some research on human design. And with human design, I'm a manifesting generator. And manifesting generators are supposed to respond to what lights them up. So this whole time I've been, you know, chastised about constantly picking things up and then putting them down. Oh, but it's just the
Never finish
way that
something. You never stay with it as you should.
yeah,
I heard that my whole life.
whole life. It's like I
Manifesting
finished it.
generator, by the way, as well.
Oh, see, that's the thing. It was like I finished it to the point as much as it lit me up.
Yes.
Now, there's other things within life as well that I can see as well is there's been things in life that have lit me up and then the light disappeared, but then the light reappeared when I reanalyzed my focus and my perception started to enhance more about the situation. Because within those things of them lighting me up, there's always this, okay, this is lighting me up now. And then within the situation, after doing it for so long, it becomes very routinish and
Hmm.
I'm not very one with the constant same thing always, all the time, then it's okay. I really enjoy this thing. I really do. But this doing the same thing over and over again isn't going to flow. So then I would switch it up and do it. I would do the same thing just in a different way, and then the light would come back. So now anything that I do, if I'm really, really, really vibing with it, I will switch it up when every few months I'll just switch up the tactic or the way that I'm doing it. It's like, with some artists, they'll only create art with charcoal and then they'll go to oil painting and then they'll do this and then they'll do that and then they'll do this and
They
then do that.
still do art.
You'll do the yeah, exactly. So it's the same thing, just in different understandings.
Love it. Yeah, I think it's really like uh, school and society until today still struggle with the understanding of the different types. And I think I totally agree with you, where human design or also Kabbalistic astrology or like the gene keys as well.
Yes, the gene keys are amazing.
Yes, they give you very much peace around your way of perceiving reality.
Mhm.
And I think that's very important because in school we learned, or we were told that there is one certain way how things need to be done, and how
Yes.
things need to be learned, and how things need to be also kept. And I think that's really, and out of that I'm pretty sure like a lot of my clients come with very strange diagnoses, like, oh yeah, I have ADHD, or yeah, I have an anxiety disorder. And I look at them, and when I do the work with them after a couple of sessions, I'm like, that makes no sense whatsoever.
Right.
It's just your way of perceiving of how your energy bodies work, of how, for example, I had a girl. She had an eating disorder, and so she was anorexic and then bulimic, and then she threw up. So that
Yeah.
was like past life twice, and then just an emotional body which was so fed up because she had no auric boundary. So
Yeah.
her emotional body was so fed up that she constantly felt full, and so she had to throw up because she thought it's the food, but it was actually the emotions. When we
Mm.
cleared that, and when we set the boundaries in the auric field through yogic practice, with certain yogic practices, and then I created something specific for her so she didn't have to have all the foreign energies, then the game changed completely. And there's still a habit that you need to work
Of
on.
course.
Then it's very simple to change the
Mm.
habit. Then is like you have twice past life plus the emotional body, and then you can change stuff much smoother, I would
Mm.
say,
Yeah.
than when not. And so I feel there is a lot of suffering going on today in today's society and world, and with a lot of people, even like in my age, and around 40, like, because the school system was not yet revised. There was no revision of the school system, and the school system is really old. We have to
Yeah.
know the school was invented 100 something years ago. So what they wanted to create was good fabric workers,
Yeah. Great workers. You
great
just shut up
workers.
and do your job.
And there needed to be a certain way of thinking, there needed to be a certain way of acting and behaving in society, in groups, etc. There was no place for standing out talents and for different kind of movements of energies. But now, I mean, it's the Aquarian age. It's after all, it's like all we have to do in the Aquarian age is about how capable are you to live your sensitivity, how can you feel into things and really maneuver your knowledge, your wisdom around what you actually feel. And so, like, the school has to do some jobs in the next couple of years, that's for sure.
You know, the point that you brought up about the schools actually just popped this picture in my mind that I saw years ago. There's a man standing and there's a tree, and they have a goldfish, they have a monkey,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
have an elephant, they have I think a zebra, and they have, a bunch of different animals. And the man says, climb that tree.
Yeah,
Now, how do you expect the elephant to climb that tree? Like
yeah,
the elephant's pretty tall. It can use its trunk for sure. It could find a way, but it's not, you know, the monkey. Oh, that's a breeze. It's very much easy. That goldfish, yeah, he's not getting up there without help. So
and it's the
it's
same with, I'm sorry.
yeah, it's basically showing you there's multiple energies and groups of people that need to be able to be brought in the way that they learn. That was one of the biggest things with my two sons is what lights you up and what are you really rocking with at a very young age, and then pushing that, showing and allowing that to blossom, rather going, you know what, I know you really like music, but I'm going to take you and put you in sports. Now you may love sports, you may be a great athletic, person, but I'll let you find that in your own way. If you end up wanting to do that, then okay, we'll ride with it. But if you're vibing with music and you're so passionate about it, let's nurture it.
We do that, and it's the same with
Yes.
food and with sports. What I often see, those running coaches or those sports coaches, and then they're like, yeah, in order to lose weight you just have to do this and this and that, or in order to be a better marathon runner you just have to do this and this and that. And it's the same, the exact same, also with diets and nutrition. Like, tell a fish to eat 20 eggs a day.
Mm,
Not good
right.
for the fish to eat an egg.
No.
Tell it to the rabbit to eat an egg. It's also not good.
Mm,
But tell the fox to eat 20 eggs. Amazing. And
right.
he will like be very fit and feel very good because it's his natural nutrition. So,
Right.
and with the diets, it's the same. Like, I found out for my body what it needs, and the more I go deeper within the, like, not like I was shopping today, grocery shopping, and I had like my whole thing was like, out of 20 products that I bought, 18 were fruit and vegetables.
Mm.
And it's like, it was all green and fresh because my body thrives of fresh organic food, which thank God in Switzerland, like we're able to buy that.
Mm.
So like you have, but I know someone that only eats pasta and pizza only. He doesn't eat
Ooh.
any salad, any fruit, anything, but his body is in such a good condition until now. I don't know.
Mm.
Maybe it's his thing, maybe his body
Mm.
thrives off of that.
Right, right.
So,
And we also got to take into understanding as well the genetic understanding of what we're putting
yes,
into our bodies and where it ties down. And then we can go into karma. We can go into the actual energies. We can go into all of it and what's going to process better. Because when we look at any organism and when it's going through its evolutionary process, passing down its genes, it's going to take the best genes that work the best with a particular organism and it's going to pass down the best genes, right? Now, when we get to humans, some information doesn't transfer over the best, right? And it ends up depending on the partner that you're choosing to have that child with, they may not work together. So then you have a child who has, particular issues with the food that they put in that they normally would have been able to eat that they no longer are able to eat because it's canceling out through the genetics. And talking about genetics is absolutely insane and going into the genetics of what your particular blood type handles with food and the acidity and the pH levels of all of it. It's so interesting, and that's another rabbit hole you could really go down. We should get a dietitian on the podcast.
we have on my alley, we have a epigenetic woman.
We should have her on the podcast.
He doesn't speak English, but yeah,
Oh,
yes, I
maybe
will.
you could translate.
I could try. Yeah, maybe she would be open because like epigenetics is the new thing. Like this is my next thing that I do. I want to do the studies of epigenetics. I think it's so interesting, especially because like for us as spiritual healers, like um just understanding, like I see it in my body, like I completely changed my physical body with the narrative that was given from the genetics, with the cancer that I had as a kid, with all the chemotherapy, radiation therapy, and then with the back operation, and I still have those screws in my back. And so, but still, how much are you able to really change your genomes and to activate certain strands so you
Oh
have
yeah.
more spiritual capacities? And that's like being a very advanced human. And believe me, for all of the people that are not now getting into this, becoming this advanced human, and like understanding that yoga is a big part of being an advanced human, meditation is, and all these people that they will end up as robots, because what you need in this metaverse, imagine you work all day with a video mask or with video in your eyes, and you have all those secretions of your adrenalines and all the hormones that are just working because you get the infos. If you're not a advanced human by then, yeah, you're fucked. You're really
Mm,
fucked. Because for your brain, it doesn't matter if something is real or it's just imagined. It doesn't matter.
absolutely.
So I
You
think we yeah, that's why we do those podcasts. That's why we do also Ellie Vision and My Ellie,
yeah,
right? That's why
absolutely.
that's why we do all of that, because we want you to be an advanced human.
You really hit the point right there. That's it. It's being, and that's one of the biggest things with certain spiritual practices, or even just, everyday societal understandings.
Yeah,
It's being the best human being you can possibly be
totally.
with what you have right now, here in this moment.
And
So whether that's breaking down the psychology, breaking down the emotions, breaking down the body, and understanding all of it,
whatever, yeah.
yeah, that's what it's about. Bringing more awareness and consciousness into being the fullest human being you can possibly be.
Yeah, that's why I'm such a nerd. That's why I need to, like, this is the reason why I read so many books, why I go so in depth into things, where I'm so also very like, I'm very picky about details when I discuss things. That's the reason why, because there is a certain kind of um like, if we don't understand that we need to be this advanced human, we need to be more humanized. We're more intelligent than every AI will ever be, ever. We have 114 chakras, which is each a fucking doorway to a mystical teaching. Like, if you start to access this physical body, you really can play the game, but you need to understand how to play the game. You need the rules
Yes,
set. That's why I write this book at the moment, The Game Plan of Human Existence, to make people know, like, how this works. And then, yeah, I'm looking so forward to the future, because I think it will be so amazing. Like, when we
absolutely.
have, like, so many people understanding what it means to be a human, and then maneuvering themselves in this metaverse. I cannot wait for that.
It'll almost turn into where the intellect won't be obsolete, but it'll be used less in the sense that it's used now. It won't be put at such a tall monument of, oh, the fullest thing of being a human is having a strong intellect and fully enveloped in your intellect. It'll be more of using the thinking of the body, thinking through the body, having multiple channels
Yeah.
happening within the body at every moment. Like
Filtering.
normally, yeah, normally you have one channel going on within your mind, right? But no, there'll be 12, 14 channels going on within the body at any moment.
Yes. And it's also, then you're not, they're not able to manipulate you anymore.
Exactly.
Because
You're no longer a limit.
no, and the manipulation only happens in the lower chakras, in the fear, in the sexual chakras, in all of that, in the duality, basically, in good and bad, evil, blood, all this duality game. So what you want to do as an advanced human, you want to be in a meditative mind, you want to have a physical body which is calm, which is centered, where your elements work, together, where your um glandular system secretes properly. And when you have
Mhm.
that, then you have a certain type of intelligence where you can, like, understand insensitivity things that the rest of the world doesn't. But you can
Mhm.
be the leader that you're supposed to be. And I think this is what we need to create: human leaders. Like,
Yes. Yes. Yeah. It's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when.
well, it already happens, like, in many spiritual communities,
Mhm.
in
Yeah.
many, and also in many yoga communities, in many
Oh,
big
definitely.
teachings. Like, and when they tell you that you're a guru, like, I find that always very funny, how in the West this word is so negatively connotated. Guru means just from darkness to light, and I
Mm.
think it's very true for you, at least, that you are a guru. Bring people
See
from
that
darkness to light. And
what I recognized. Go ahead.
no, it's good.
What I recognized with that word and the resistance that I had with that word was I didn't feel I was able to fill that shoe whatsoever. Don't you ever give me that label because that label is unmatched. It was like I was idolizing the gurus that I had experienced and known. And then once the idol started falling away, then the resistance from the word guru came away because at the end of the day, there is a much bigger energetic understanding of guru rather than just the word, because at the time I was only messing with the word, and it was like, I see guru, and it's like, oh my God, I come to tears. But whenever I see said guru, I come to tears every time. It doesn't matter, on a drop of a dime, just tears every time, every single time. And what I noticed with that was I no longer look at him as a human being, like just as a human being, right? It's beyond that.
We
It's
are all beyond
like,
that. Every
yeah, it's
every woman that is cashing in a grocery store, every
mhm.
man that is working on the streets, we're all beyond the human facade.
Yes. And when that first started happening to me, I started crying, looking at everything and everyone,
Yeah,
just
I
tears,
remember that
tears,
that was last
just,
year. You were like, "Oh my God,
uh,
I saw the
I'm
tree."
just crying. I'm like looking at a tree and I'm just bawling my eyes out. I'm looking at, a newborn baby, bawling my eyes out. I'm looking at a bird. I'm looking at a rat, just bawling eyes, just everything. I'm just sitting here, just like, oh my, what is happening? Just so many tears. And it's interesting. It's interesting for sure.
I agree. That was a beautiful one.
Yeah. Great podcast, folks. Great podcast.
I hope you liked it, and we're back next week. And
Yes.
we wish you, at least I do, a wonderful day, evening, night, wherever you are. And don't forget that you are this infinite being that is living in a finite body. And this finite body really tries to communicate to you in certain ways. And there are people that can help you with that.
Yes. Another point as well, if any of the things that we've spoken about today interest you and you want to understand more, you can definitely go to alley.vision and check out any of the articles, any of the information. And also my alley, there are amazing teachers and beautiful beings who are willing and open to have a conversation with you and work with you. And there's a lot of teachings that are there. So I definitely suggest that you go and check that out. Or if you're looking for some trauma therapy, I know someone who's very, very good at it. She's actually done it with me, and I highly recommend yours truly, Nicole. Um, absolutely. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your week and have a beautiful one, you beautiful, beautiful beings.
Bye.